Hello everyone, this is Nikita and today I have come up with a video on rule availability in PEGA. When we start out in our PEGA journey, we get to know there are a lot of different rules and which have different purposes. But there is one most important thing is how is rule picked up. There's the whole flow diagram of rule resolution, which I will cover in my next video. But to understand the rule resolution, it is important to understand what is rule availability, PEGA. So until and unless we understand this fully, it is very, very difficult to understand the whole rule resolution process in PEGA. Okay, so let's start with the first process, which is rule availability, and also we will learn about rule status both in this video. Okay, so let's get started. So in this particular video I will cover rule availability and rule status, as I have already told. So how many kinds of rule availability are there? There are 5 kinds of rule availability, which you can see in my screen as available, not available, then we have withdrawn, then we have blocked, and final. Lastly it was final. Yeah, so these are 5 kinds of availability of the rules in PEGA. So let's start discussing one by one. Before that, let me also tell you what I will cover in rule status. There are 4 kind of rule status in PEGA, which are API, deprecated, extension, and template. I'll explain them one by one. Let's start with rule availability. As I've already told, it helps in rule resolution. Whenever we have a rule, we give them some kind of status. I would say availability status. Okay, so let's go by available status. It's basically we are giving the status to that particular rule as available. Let me go to some rule and show you how it works. So here is one of the rule. Okay, so here you can see beside the name we have this available. Click on that and you would find a drop down. Okay, so which has 5 options: available, not available, blocked, final, and withdrawn. So basically available means whenever we run when we run the rules, this available the rules which are available would be picked up and would be running when we run any case or when we run anything, right? So this is basically available is, and in the rule resolution also available rules are a candidate in the rule resolution. They would be getting picked up if it fulfills certain criteria. Okay, like there are different criteria about the classes and then the rule sets. If all those works perfectly fine, then available rules would be picked up. Okay, so that is available. And then there are not available rules, which we mark it as not available when we know that we do not want this particular rule to run. Okay, so we specifically go to that rule and make it as not available. Okay, when we go here and make it as not available. Okay, so when we make it as not available, we are sure that this particular rule will not get picked up. But yes, if any other rule set version is available, then it will get picked up. Only this particular rule with this rule set version with this class will not get picked up. That's what not available status rules will do. Now coming to withdrawn rule, this is basically we use it in many scenario in our project. Is when we have certain rules with some class. Okay, and now we do not want the rules of that class to get picked up. Okay, maybe we have created the same rule with the same name in some other class. Okay, and that's why what we will do is we will withdraw this particular rule. Okay, so when we withdraw this rule, what will happen is this rule, this flow with the name register of this class, onboarding class, with this rule set, claims rule set, will never be called. So this will never be called, it would be eliminated from the rule resolution process. Okay, so basically that happens when we withdraw any rule. I will show you, give you a practical example when we run this case type, that how the withdrawn rule is, withdraw rule is not letting the rule run. Okay, so that we will see in a while. Before that, I'll just giving you an overview. Okay, so now coming to the blocked rule. Blocked rule is it takes part in the rule resolution process, but when it gets picked up and when we mark it as blocked, it will not run. Okay, it will not run. When I make it as blocked, obviously this will take part in the rule resolution process. There is no harm in that. But when you try to run it, when you try to see this flow actually work in action, that will not happen. This flow will not run. So there are particular scenario when we do this blocking of the rule. Maybe this particular rule, now we do not want the user to run. Okay, maybe due to some unavoidable circumstances, then we generally do this block rule, though it is very rare that we block any rule. But yeah, there are some use cases when you might have to do it. Coming to the final rule, those rules, when we make it as final, we basically inhibiting other people to save that rule into some other rule set. Okay, so you might have seen that some out of the box PEGA rules are made as final. Okay, so those let me show you some of them. Right, let me show some section which are final. Some out of the box PEGA rule will be final. Okay, so now you see there is this section which are made as final. Okay, so this final rule we cannot save in some other rule set. Okay, this is PEGA process architect rule set, right? So when we try to save the same rule with the same name in some other rule set, it will not get saved. Okay, so this was about rule availability. Okay, let's start by running them and seeing that whether it gets picked up or not. Okay, so let's start with creating the case type. Before that, let me show you how I have configured it. This is our case type, onboarding case type, where there is a stage called register, and this process, I mean this flow. Okay, when you open this, let me make it as available for now. Okay, so this is the flow, and then there would be a flow action. So this is register flow action. Okay, so this is the flow action. Okay, and then there is this section. All are available, you see, all are available. Okay, so now when I try to run the case type, okay, so as you can see, since all the rules were available, I can see the section, the flow action, the flow, all were available, so this comes up. Okay, now let's go to the second one, not available. Let me make some rule as not available. What I can do is, let me make this flow action as not available. Let's see what happens if we make it as not available. Okay, let's run it. Okay, so now you see it is saying that register step in the onboarding case type does not have a view defined. Since I made the flow action as not available, this is basically not running. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to again make it as available for it to work again. See, now it's coming up. Got it? Coming to the third one, which is the withdrawn. So when I do this, I made my lower version in the same class and the same rule set, not ready. Okay. So coming to this register, there is a register section. Okay. This is in the onboarding class in the claims rule set. Okay. Now what I will do, I will make this as withdrawn. Since I made this as withdrawn, this will not run. Okay, but I have some other rule, I have some other section with the same name as register in some other class, which is work class. Okay, so now this is in different class. And how will I identify it? I have added some other field to it, which is contact number. Now the previous one only had full name and okay, I made it as integer. Okay, let me change this first. It should be age. Okay. Let me first okay. Now we see, okay, now full name and age. Okay, I have not withdrawn yet. Let me now withdraw this section. When I withdraw this and save, now this particular section will not be called, rather some other class register, which is in the work class. So it comes in the hierarchy basically. So that's why this will be called. Okay, let me show you now. I will run this again. Now we see that there is a contact number out here, right? So basically now this section, other section is called, which is not withdrawn, this one, work class. Next is the blocked rule. Block rule is basically when you do the block, it will not run, it will take part in the rule resolution process, but this will not run. When you see it here, you will not find it. Now let me do one thing. Let me block some rule. Let me block this flow. Okay. See, it shows you, it show you this error that it is not able to find the rule. Okay, basically it shows that this rule is blocked, so I'm not able to proceed. Okay. So now you got this point. Let me make it back. Okay. Next one is final rule. Final rule which I've shown you, these are some of the rules which we do not want other to save it in other rule set. Okay, so let me try to save, try make some rule as final and see how will it work. Make it as final. Now when I try to save this in some other rule set, okay, you see the instance conflicts with the final record. Basically you cannot save a final record in some other rule set. Okay, that is what happens if you try to save some out of the box final rule in your own rule set. You know, this will not work. That's why they have made it as final. They do not want others to modify it. Okay, so in those scenarios, you get some extension points instead of saving it into other rule set. You can make use of the extension points. Uh, when we go to rule status, we'll understand. So, what are the rule status? These are four different kind of statuses given to a rule, which makes us understand what kind of rule it is. Okay, so this doesn't have to do anything with the rule resolution process. Okay, it's not the availability of any rule, it is basically the status of the rule, why this has been created like this. So API are those which provide standard input parameter to this rule and receive standard return value or results. Okay, so when you make it as API, it means that these particular rule will behave like this. Deprecated rules are discouraged from using this rule because no longer supported. Basically, whenever we go ahead, we find some new ways of doing things and some error or something like that, a new design pattern basically. So we have to sometimes deprecate some old rules. So they mark it as deprecated. Okay, and so we are not encouraged to use this rule. Maybe in certain some circumstances people use it, but at some point of time its support would end. Okay, it will be removed. Extension point, which I was talking about, it's the third one, where users can override the rule to provide custom functionality. So sometimes they make the rule as final, or they make it as extension when this particular rule, you can extend it, you can use it in your rule set. Okay, and do your custom functionality over it. Templates are the one which basically is the starting point, to save time when they create a rule. When we create a rule, if we have a kind of a template a rule available, we can save it in our rule set, and some of the things would already be done in your template, so it is easier for you to do your changes on it. So let me show you. So how it works is, you can go here in available, and there you will see this status, API, deprecated, extension, and template. You can select one which fulfills your purpose. Okay, so this is what it is. So these are all the different availability and the rule status. I hope this give you a little information about how can you use this availability status in your favor. Okay, so sometimes not available status we use just to check whether how it is working without this rule, just for testing purpose. And withdrawn, as I've told you, sometimes you have to use some you use the same rule, the name of the same rule in different classes. Or so the and final, sometimes you make the rule final because maybe you're working in a team and you do not have much communication with your team members. So when you do make a rule, you create rules in PEGA, you want others to know that this is the final rule and want to restrict them to save it in some other rule set. Okay, to to make the design good, and all these things. That is why you make it as final. I hope this give you a little idea about how to set a rule status and make it available, not available, etc, etc. In the next video, we will talk about rule resolution process, which is very important topic. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for you all for joining me in this video. I would see you again in my next video. Till then, stay safe. Bye bye.